Happy Feral Friday, everyone. How's everyone doing? Ba-ba-ba-beow. Today, we are talking about beauty standards for women. And before we get into it, remember to subscribe. If you're not already, PSA, subscribe. I always forget to say it. I'm saying it now at the top of the episode before we get into anything. And then another thing we have to do. Lizzie, what is your hot take of the day?
My hot take of the day, I've actually said this once before, not on the podcast yet. I'm going to revisit it because it is a hot take. My hot take of the day is you cannot be anti-vax and support GLP-1 for weight loss.
Ooh.
Can't be. And I had a lot of people get angry at me for that. And it was the anti-vaxxers. Yeah, it was the anti-vaxxers because they were like, it's a peptide. It's naturally occurring in your body. I said, you can't be anti-vax and support GLP-1 for weight loss because the original intended purpose of GLP-1 is diabetic medication.
Not the anti-vaxxers going, it's a peptide.
Literally. That's my hot take of the day. What's yours?
My hot take of the day. See, now I want to talk about anti-vaxxers, but my hot take, I will stick to the hot take that I had planned. By the way, I have show notes. I had to write, you can see, subscribe. For those who are just listening, I have a little post-it note. Because I forget my hot takes all the time. My hot take of the day, e-bikes. E-bikes should not be allowed on roads. That is my hot take. There are cars, and then there are bicycles, and then there are motorcycles. All of these things are on roads. E-bikes are when people modify their bikes, or those like, what am I thinking of? Like dirt bike-esque kind of bikes. People ride them near where I live, and somebody died. Like a kid died because it's not just about the e-bikes. Sure, people own e-bikes, whatever. But it's the people who drive them in the street and then also they don't wear a helmet and then they disobey traffic laws. Somebody where I live ran a red light and then was struck by a car who had the right of way.
That's crazy.
And they were on an e-bike.
That's
no helmet.
Crazy.
And they also went on a red. Anyway, I do not like the e-bikes, and I don't think they should be allowed on roads. It's like a ton of like teenagers where I live have them, and they will not only ride them, but like they'll pop wheelies and go on red lights.
That's a good hot take. That's a good hot take.
Maybe not a hot take. Maybe that's just like a safe take. But I like yours more though, because yours kind of ties into the episode today. I first of all, I agree with you. I actually don't think that's that hot of a take. Are you doing your lip liner right now?
No, I'm just putting a balm on because my lips feel crusty.
I was doing, for some reason, I also feel crusty today. I have like a bunch of lip stuff. Shout out Violette FR, not sponsored, but
I have a black honey dupe.
Stuff. You have a what dupe?
Black honey. I don't remember what brand it is, but
Clinique.
Yeah, it's a dupe, and I would say pretty good. But yeah, it kind of does tie into our episode about beauty standards and everything. It should not be a hot take. I did not think it was going to be a hot take.
No.
I think I originally posted this take on Threads, like, I don't know. It was when I was relatively new. So it had to have been in like April or May or something. It was one of my first bigger posts because it got like, I don't know, like 3 to 5K or something likes or whatever. But I was just stating in general, and all these little keyboard warriors wanted to get angry with me for saying that. Like, it's a naturally occurring peptide. No. GLP-1 is a peptide, and yes, it does naturally occur in your body, but when you are buying a pharmaceutical and injecting it into yourself or ingesting it, however you are taking your GLP-1, which I should have a disclaimer, I am not anti-GLP-1. I'm not anti-GLP-1.
Oh yeah. Let's just put
and
that
I'm not anti-vax either. So, if you are
we're anti-vax people.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. But so it should not be a hot take that I said that, because when you're buying a pharmaceutical and putting it inside of your body as a medication that is typically prescribed to diabetic patients, that is not a naturally occurring peptide. That is a synthetic drug. Anyway, I just thought that was fucking crazy. Like, there
It
were
is.
so many people that were angry. Like, shut up. You can't
It
be
is.
anti-vax.
I
And then,
think,
yeah,
yeah, I I agree. And I think GLP-1s are a great place to start when talking about beauty standards. And especially in the year 2026, I think, and I don't know if GLP-1s have made this better or worse. Mm, I think that they've illuminated an existing issue, which is that our culture vilifies fat people. Fat is not a bad word, but I think our culture is incredibly fat phobic, and GLP-1s, yeah, I don't know if they've made things better or worse, but they've illuminated that issue and they've existed for many, many years. They are now, so what's happened, I can kind of speak to this because I work in pharmaceutical advertising, but they have been approved for a long time in use in diabetic patients. So every drug has an indication what it is indicated for. It has been indicated for diabetes. The reason why we're hearing about it so much more now is that I forget if it was the last year or the year before, but I believe both Ozempic and then now the newer drug Wegovy on the market both now have indications for weight loss.
mm-hmm.
Um, so
And
that
then
has now
Mounjaro was
opened
born because
up.
of that.
Yeah. So what was previously indicated for one population is still indicated for that population. It is still used for people who are diabetic, um, to help control blood sugar. But an unintended side effect, and I think why they went for the indication for weight loss is because people also then, an unintended side effect is that you lose weight when you're on it. So they're now indicated for weight loss. But I think GLP-1s in their indication for weight loss now have illuminated the issue of fat phobia. I think it's kind of put a spotlight on it, especially in the US.
I fully agree. Um, and again, I'm not against GLP-1s at all. Like, I have personally known many people that have taken GLP-1 for weight loss since it's been approved for that.
Mhm.
Um, and it's genuinely changed their quality of life. Some of them are still on it for a maintenance dose. Some of them have gotten off of it because it helped them change their lifestyle and lose the initial weight. And now they've just kept up with it, which great, that's positive. There is then also the negative side, especially surrounding beauty standards and especially for women. I'm not saying there are not beauty standards for men, but I am saying that the beauty standards for men and the beauty standards for women are very different. Um,
Fat phobia, I think people are fat phobic
Point
regardless
blank.
of gender. I
Yeah,
think people are especially fat phobic to women, but
I agree.
I
I,
think it exists. I think that that's a problem that's
yeah.
also genderless.
Especially because, like, if you even if you think about it, like, fat phobia is definitely alive and well. It shouldn't be, but fat phobia is alive and well for all genders. But if you think about it, like right now for men, like dad bod is trending, but
Is
heroin
dad
chic
bod
or
trending?
yeah, dad bod is like a thing now, and like I personally also am attracted to dad bod. I'm pansexual. I'm attracted to people's personalities, like your body type, like whatever. You're beautiful to me no matter what. Okay, but for guys, it's like dad bod is acceptable and coveted, and I'll say, of course, like people like thick women too, but especially in like society and in the eyes of like the media, Ozempic chic and heroin chic are such a thing right now that it's
Mhm.
like, it's bad. It's bad for your mental health and your physical health because there's all these people out there that see these unrealistic beauty standards and they want to attain it, and they'll do it any way that they can. And a lot of the time, especially for people with like dysmorphia and things like that, which is a whole nother thing we could get into, um, it causes eating disorders or it triggers eating disorders. Also, I should probably say trigger warning. We will be talking about bodies, body types, sizes, shapes of all kinds, and kind of how society has warped our minds,
Yeah.
not our minds, but as a collective, warped our minds
Yeah.
towards like what's acceptable and what's not. So, trigger warning: if you have issues with things like that, then now would be definitely a time to stop listening. I hope you
Yeah,
stay.
I would say I appreciate you mentioning that. That's a good point. We should definitely give a trigger warning, especially for like any eating disorders. I would I'm trying to think of anything else we give a trigger warning to, but
I think that would. Yeah,
yeah.
probably covers it.
I think yeah, that's the main trigger warning for this episode. And I think something we're seeing talked about a lot. I think that the dad bod thing is interesting, and I think what have I seen? I mean, I think there's also something in kind of how where you're aligned politically and what sort of body positivity you see in your feed. Like you immediately thought of like dad bods being in right now, but I also know I feel like it was a few months ago some dude posted like there's also like the bodybuilding side of the
True.
internet where like a lot of I mean conservative men like post their workouts and um I think there's a lot of fat phobia. I think fat phobia is rooted in conservatism, but I'm not going to get into that on this episode today.
Yeah, we could probably have a whole episode on that.
Yeah, when we were originally talking about what we wanted to talk about today's episode, I was like, I want to talk about how fat phobia is rooted in fascism and the rise of fascism in the United States and how we're seeing it more. Maybe that's for another episode. Lizzie, you looked like you just saw a ghost.
I heard something really crazy in the hallway, and I was like making sure I wasn't going crazy, but I don't see anything, so I'm good. Sorry about that.
Probably just your cat.
Honestly, probably. He has now, just a cute little segue. He has now decided that he likes to play with my bedside table drawers. So I'll walk in and my bedside table drawer will just be pulled out all the way, and I'm like, "Who's in here with me?"
He's doing redecorating.
Yeah, he's rearranging. He doesn't like it in here. The feng shui is off for him.
Not the feng shui for the kitten.
Gosh. Okay. Anyways,
Anyway, GLP-1s and fascism.
GLP-1s and
Into it.
fascism. Let's get
Um,
into it.
Actually, I do want to talk about because you were talking about side effects of being on GLP-1s for weight loss. I had an experience. I had a negative experience with GLP-1s. Um, I have diabetes in my family, which I am not pre-diabetic currently, but it's kind of like, it's I know it's in my future. And a huge part of weight loss is genetic, and it's something that I'm very body positive, love how I look, but I think
As you should.
like I think body is tea. Um, I work from home though, remotely, 40 hours a week. Some days it's very hard to get out. I went through a few months of working on a launch brand where I was working like 70-hour weeks. So finding time to exercise is really difficult and I just don't have a great metabolism. Anyway, I talked to my doctor about it. I was like, I'm getting frustrated with this because even when I was able to work out, I just wasn't feeling like fit. My goal is never to lose weight. I just want to feel like fit and healthy. And I was like, I'm not feeling like that. And she was like, oh, do you want to try a GLP-1? And I was like, I'm open to it. Tried it, hated it, went off it, and then ended up gaining more weight than what I had started with,
Which
which
is what
was
happens.
very frustrating. It is. It's something that happens. I yeah, I'm fine to talk about it. I was on Wegovy for about 2 months. And when I was about to get up to the maintenance dose, it made my depression a lot worse. Um, I had like mental health meds managed, and then Wegovy was added, and it like totally messed up like everything I had working for me. I got very, very depressed. Um, Luckily, you can just stop taking it. You don't have to titrate off of it. But I immediately messaged my doctor and was like, uh, I don't think I minced words. I think I actually did write to her and I was like, no, I don't want to try something else. Like, I would rather be fat and happy than like skinny and depressed.
Yeah.
And I still stand by that. I don't think that the word fat or being fat is a bad thing. I think that our culture has made it seem like a moral failing if you are a bigger person. Um, I'm just predisposed to being a bigger person. It's like everyone in my family. It's like that's just how some people are built, and I think that our culture blames people. Like I said, treats people like it's a moral failing if they're bigger. Anyway, I messaged my doctor. My doctor was like, 100% agree. If you're noticing your depression get significantly worse, like you can go off of it immediately. Do that. She was like, 100% queen. But anyway, I went off of it and immediately gained back the weight, and then 20 pounds more. But yeah, now I'm just content in being happy and just a little bit fat, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's not a bad word. And like I've even said it before, like in a public setting, like fat is not an insult. People trying to weaponize the word fat, like, okay, who are you hurting with that? Do you feel bigger and better because you said that? Because you are conditioned by the media and society to tell you that fat means that your body doesn't operate as well as thin people, or like, because I mean,
Mhm.
thin is in, that's what it is, like thin is what's in the media. That's, part of why fat phobia is so prevalent, and actually how it ties into fascism too, because it's all about being the ideal, and if you're not looking how people look in the media, then you're not ideal. But you know what? I know a lot more fat or overweight people that are healthier than thin people or in shape people. Like, I myself have done blood on people that were nearly obese or just overweight, and they were healthier than the person that came in that was, working out so consistently that they were essentially killing themselves, you
Oh,
know?
yeah. I'll add that on to my story. Nothing in my blood work indicated that I needed to be on a GLP-1 for any reason other than um, I wanted to lose some weight to feel like more fit in like the exercise I was doing. I actually I kind of wanted to supplement the exercise I was already doing just because I was not feeling as fit as I could be. Ended up backfiring. And again, that's just my experience. I am not a spokesperson for or against GLP-1s. I think that one thing that I really liked about it had nothing to do with, well, I was going to say, had nothing to do with the results, obviously, because it had the opposite effect when I went off it. But while I was taking it, it did make me realize that weight loss is genetic. Like,
It is.
different bodies signal fullness differently. You can do all the tips in the world. I've tried all the tips, like drinking like a glass of water before every meal, like trying to like do X amount of workouts a day, to eat. I've like I what a popular weight loss app is like Noom, that like labels food green, yellow, and red. Like, I've tried a bunch of different things, and when I was on a GLP-1, I was like, oh, nothing that I was doing was working because it literally was not my fault. There's nothing wrong with being fat, and nothing, I just, I get so upset because, and actually, maybe this is a good segue too, because like I've gotten comments from people that are like, maybe you should worry less about masking and worry about being fat, or like maybe you should work out before you tell me to wear a mask. I post public health content frequently, and every single post I'll get a comment that's like I'm gonna take advice from somebody who's this fat, who doesn't care about their body. I get tons of comments that are like, clearly she doesn't care about her body. First of all, excuse me.
tea and slaying. I think obviously it's more telling of other people than it is of like us when we get like insulted and things like that,
Hmm.
or trying to insult with the word fat or whatever.
Hmm.
I just think it's really sad to try to stoop to that level though.
Yeah.
Because there are people that, if you call them fat, like it will absolutely ruin their whole day. Like
Yeah.
it will send them into a spiral.
Hmm.
Or say a person is in recovery from an eating disorder. There are also eating disorders that are just binging. There's, you
Yeah.
know,
Which, I mean, is a great point. And also, conversely, um, people like to make comments about people who are overly thin too without knowing anything about their health history. A person who comes to mind immediately is Chadwick Boseman, who was uh, who had cancer, and people were constantly making nasty comments about how thin he was looking. I remember at the time people saying he looks underfed, looks terrible. People were making comments about like sunken in facial features. And then he passed away, and everyone found out that he had cancer, and kind of makes everyone look like an asshole. So maybe it's just no one's fucking business.
yeah, maybe we should stop commenting on other people's bodies because, like, who are you?
BMI is fake. BMI
BMI
is
is fake.
fake.
It's a scale that was made in the fucking early 1900s anyway. It's not a real scale. Plus, it does not take into account your genetics, your muscle mass, anything like that. So it's not a scale that you should be going off of. My BMI says I am morbidly obese.
Oh, same. And mine has said that since I was playing varsity basketball.
Yeah, mine has said it since I think I was like 15, just
Yeah.
because I'm short. And so, like, if I'm anything over 130 pounds for my height, I'm considered overweight and obese. But when I weighed 135 pounds, when I had an active eating disorder, in middle school and high school, I looked sick because I was. But even then, there was a point in my life where I healthily went back down to 135 after I went to therapy and I went into ED recovery and everything. Um, which actually I have another point about. But I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought saying I had another point. Um,
Doesn't that
oh yeah,
always happen? Isn't that the ADHD of it all?
yeah, it really is. So I obviously, like, when I went through recovery, like, I gained weight back, um, as you knew, because you're actually eating. Because I had anorexia. That's what I struggled with, and I actually got to a point a few years later where I went back down to 135 in a healthy way. Not only was it very hard because genetically, I'm my body type, like my mom, like all the women on my mom's side of the family, they're all like larger set women. It's not in my genetics to lose weight quickly, easily, or just to be a small person. Like short, absolutely, but it's not in my genetics. And I learned that the hard way. But I still looked sick even when I did it in a healthy way. So that was like a massive indicator and like a wake up for me personally for BMI, because I was like, I can be the healthy BMI and I look sick for me.
I
And I don't
think that's crazy and a very good point. Thank you for sharing
Everybody's
that.
body's different. Yeah. Um, everybody's bodies are different. Everybody carries weight differently. Anyway,
That's actually true. Um, I feel like my husband and I are our case study for this. We weigh the same amount, and we look very different. Like, I mean, you could put yourself next to somebody who weighs the same amount, and I feel like somebody has made a graphic of this. It was like 10 different women, all different sizes, but all the same weight. And you see how people carry weight differently.
yeah. And everybody has a different body type. Everybody's metabolism is different. And just we need to stop as a whole, as a society, making comments on people's bodies, because there are people that struggle with being too thin, not being able to gain weight. There are people that are terminally or chronically ill. There are people that are overweight and they literally do everything, tick every single box that, like, to lose weight, that say
Mhm.
the next person would have lost 30 pounds quickly doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's bodies are different. We've got to stop commenting on people's bodies. I think the um like the exception to that, not I'm not saying the exception of commenting on people's bodies, you should still never do that because you have no idea
Mhm.
people's struggles or what they're going through. But when people are so sick, especially celebrities in the media, and I'm sure anybody can guess who I'm talking referring to
Oh,
right
yeah.
now, when
Can
it
I say
gets
one thing before you do?
yeah,
You were talking about, I wanted to put in one more point about that. I know exactly who you're going to talk about, but
yeah,
when you were talking about that, it reminded me that um the only person in my family who's ever been like the correct big air quotes BMI um was when my dad got very, very sick. He now has cancer, but the only time, at least in my lifetime, that I've ever seen somebody in my life be like the correct BMI was when they were incredibly sick. And that to me, that I was gonna say that actually happened kind of around the time I went off Wegovy too. And I remember at the time being like, this is stupid. Like, why am I trying to look a certain way when this BMI calculation that's in all of our charts when we go to the doctor is meaningless? Like, someone can finally be their correct BMI and it's the sickest they've ever been in their life. And
yeah.
so I feel like it's just another ableist tool
Oh, 100%.
to
I
like
fully agree with that. Like, full
shame
stop.
people. Yeah.
It is. It's always used to shame people, is the thing. And that, like, exactly what I was just saying. The first time I was ever in my correct, healthy BMI range, I was very sick with anorexia nervosa. The second time I did it the healthy way, and I still looked unwell for me
Mhm.
because I'm not, my height based off of a chart made in ye olden times says that's what I'm supposed to be, but my body is different. It's different to what the standard woman was back then, or whatever fucking doctor decided to make this chart. Um,
Have you ever had fat phobic doctors or nurses when you go to the doctor?
Absolutely. So with being somebody that struggled with disordered eating as a younger teen, I actually still have thoughts and difficulties to this day. And the way that it presents itself is I have hyper dieted, like I did keto, like obsessively. I did a ketogenic diet obsessively off and on for years. I will say I did lose weight. I felt amazing. I ended up starting to have blood pressure issues and thus like artery issues. I actually started having issues because of it because I didn't do it the correct way at first. But so
Mhm.
I've done yo-yo dieting, I've done extreme dieting, and that shows up in the sense of restriction. Like restriction is still disordered eating. So like you have to repair your relationship with food. But in saying that, when I finally was like, I have to stop doing this because I'm still sick. Like I'm still sick up here to think that I need to do this to myself because I need to be skinny because I wasn't doing it for me. I was doing it because I was
Yeah.
worried what I would look like to everyone else. And when I got off of keto, I actually, like, it took a while, but I still gained weight. I gained weight back. Right now, I'm like the heaviest I've been for myself in a while, but sometimes I get upset about it. But honestly, I'm happier than I've ever been because I just enjoy the food that I eat. And I know, especially with being chronically ill and kind of limited in what I can do now, I know that my body's doing what it can to get through to the next day. That being said, to get back to the doctor point, sorry for my mini rant.
No, go off. And I think it's important to share stuff like this because I do think that a lot of people do feel like fatness is a moral failing. I think that we see it online constantly. I think that teens are fed that same kind of toxic mindset from the second they get on social media. Um, and then it's fed to us in biases that we see in things like generative AI. Why when I put in my picture to a Facetune app, does it automatically try to shrink the size of my nose and
It makes you
try to
skinny.
chisel my jaw? We see what these apps do to yassify your picture. We view attractiveness in our culture as thinness. And I think it's a
Filtered
huge mental
thinness
barrier. Huh?
and filtered, so like filtered and
Yeah.
thinness. So like you have to
Mhm.
be perfect, and if you're not perfect, then you're
Yeah.
ugly or you're fat or whatever, which is just so not true. Everybody's beautiful in their own
Mhm.
way.
And then suddenly,
But
if you're not thin and therefore unattractive, you are suddenly worthless.
yeah,
And I think
exactly.
that we see that a lot more for women, um, in our culture. I mean, mostly in the US when I'm talking about our culture. I think a lot of these problems exist, I mean, everywhere on social media, but I think especially, like I was saying, with the rise of fascism in our country as of late, like we start seeing things like trad wife fashion. Um, we start to see thinner and thinner women in advertisements. But and in media too. You were going to talk about celebrities.
I was. Oh, I was going to make a point about the doctor. You asked me about doctor biases first,
Oh,
and I will go back to
yes.
the point. So, since I have gained weight, even though with me being chronically ill, I am trying to now lose weight, not for anybody but myself, though, because I want to be comfortable in my clothes again, and I
Mhm.
don't feel that way anymore. That's besides the point. Um,
Going to the doctor.
Yes, because since I've gained weight, going to the doctor, even when I was going to my cardiologist for my POTS, for my main chronic illness, it was immediately like, well, if you lost 20 pounds, it probably wouldn't be affecting you this much.
Oh, shut up. Not
And
you, the
yeah, oh
doctor.
yeah. And like as a woman, it's already difficult because you already know what I'm about to say because they're always like, are you anxious? When was your last period? Have you been drinking enough
Yeah.
water? And I have to be like, okay, I drink 4 liters of water a day because at that point I was working actively like 4 12s, if not more, a week. It's like I drink 4 liters of water a day, and at least one or two of them have electrolyte packets in them. I was smaller than I am now, but I was still I'm still overweight in the eyes of medicine or as
Which
a
is
society.
crazy. Which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like um, I mean, I wear, it doesn't even matter. Sizes don't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to talk about that actually.
It doesn't matter. I'm happy to talk about sizes. I mean, my size right now ranges anywhere from medium to XL or double XL sometimes. It depends on the brand. I mean, when I was the smallest I've ever been, the healthiest I've ever been playing varsity basketball, I had to buy a swimsuit once and the swimsuit size was 3X.
That's insane to me.
And I
So,
had
okay,
never picked up anything bigger than like a medium or large at that time. So it does brands just have different sizing.
they
And
do.
I
And
mean,
it's
this is something,
crazy,
yeah.
especially for women, especially for women. I know that any woman listening will fully agree. But like, okay, right now I'm probably closer to like a 10 or a 12 in US sizes. And usually I'm like, when I'm healthy and I feel good in my own skin, I wear eights. And that's in the jeans that I like. So
Mhm.
even saying that, right now I can put on a pair of US size 10s. And if I had three different brands, one of those isn't even going to get over my hips. One of those is going to fall
Mhm.
off of my hips, and the other one
Yep.
is going to fit perfectly.
And so much comes down to your body type too, that like if I go trying on jeans, I mean, I end up having to size up on jeans all the time just to get things over my butt. Like, oh no, the headphones are flashing.
Um,
Gotta finish the episode. Quick, guys.
no, this should last for another like hour or two. I just
But
like
yeah,
first.
They're gonna die on this episode once, and we're gonna finish the episode. You can just be miming, and I'll
Y'all be
finish
like,
out the
I
episode.
can't actually understand what you're saying, but you can hear me. Um, yeah, I just, uh,
We're talking about jean sizes.
yeah, yeah, we're talking about jean sizes. It's the
What is
same
the
with
point? What's the
shirts.
episode about?
Beauty standards.
Beauty standards. Yo, but yeah, the thing about sizes is that you can buy one size in one brand and you're a completely different size in another brand. So
Hmm.
saying a number, like I can put out in one brand, I'm a size 12. In another brand, like I went to buy my wedding dress and this is where beauty standards are insane. Wedding dresses tend to always be several numbers up from what your normal size is. So when I went wedding dress shopping, my typical size was a 10/12 and my wedding dress was a 16 wide. There was a W next to it. My mom was so sweet. My mom goes, I think it just stands for women's. And I was like, no, it stands for wide. There's no letter. I was like, there's no letter next to the other one. I think it just stands for wide. But it
It's
was
like, yeah,
crazy. And I had friends who were like, hey, I've gone wedding dress shopping before, like with my friend, or like they had gotten married and they were like, do not pay attention to the number because the number, like, it's going to be completely different from what you normally shop. It's just how wedding dresses are. And I'm like, why are they like that then? Who made them that
really,
way?
yeah, why are
Right?
they like that? Because that also, like, think about going dress shopping when you're engaged and you already, because of society, 9 times out of 10, feel like you need to be skinny and pretty on your wedding day.
Yo, the way I thought I needed to lose weight for my wedding day, I don't think I've ever talked about that publicly. I was like, okay, I feel comfortable the size I am now, but I still wanted to lose like 10, 15 pounds for my wedding. And it got closer and closer. And it was like a month out. And I was like, this is stupid. I'm just going to be the size I am. Like, I'm just going to look like me. This is ridiculous.
I fear for myself in a potential scenario in the future where I get married or something,
Mhm.
because I do still struggle with I struggle with dysmorphia. I've had dysmorphia literally as long as I can remember. I mean, I think I was like 11 or 12 when I can actually remember first thinking that my body looked different than it actually does or whatever. You know, talking to a therapist. I was in therapy very young. I think I've talked about that before on here anyway. I fear for future me because I do still have disordered thinking and
Mhm.
issues with my own body. I'm a lot better about it than I used to be, but even seeing things like in society and seeing celebrities, which will help me get back on track to what I was going to talk about.
I
We
was
all
going to
know
say,
attention.
we've said society so many times in this episode that somebody should do a drinking game, watch this episode, and anytime we say society, take a shot.
Literally, or media.
I was gonna say the person would be dead 30 minutes in. Anyway,
Fucking true. I need to stop saying words.
in a
But yeah,
society.
in a society, we live in a society.
You're
Anyway,
okay, we're talking about celebrities.
yes, we're talking about celebrities now. So this, I'll tie it into that because it's my personal struggle too,
Mhm.
especially as someone, because I'm someone who's recovered from an eating disorder, but I still have issues with it. Um, Ariana Grande, seeing her photos, seeing her videos, seeing everything surrounding that. I won't get like too deeply in about Ari because I know that she has her own struggles too, and she's always talked about don't talk about my body, stop making comments on my body and everything like that. But when your body is the face of media and you have so many, not the face of media, but a big face in the media. And you have so many like young fans that look at you and admire you and they see that's your body and they start saying things like, I don't want to eat because I want to look like her. That's when it's not okay. Like, and
Yeah.
there's so much pressure. Like, I feel pressured by seeing celebrities that are skinny like that. So I can only imagine how pressured the celebrities feel also, because
Yeah.
in a way it's how it ties into fascism in a way, because like they get scrutinized if they're not perfect, if they're not the perfect that our favorite buzzword society deems them to be, um, because if they don't have the ideal body, then they're not doing it right, you know. Then that tells us normal peons out here, that we don't have the ideal body. And then, that's also like how fat phobia comes into play too, because you could just not be rail thin and someone is calling you fat.
It's also why things like diversity in media and the shows and films that we watch is so important. And that extends to body sizes. I mean, it's hard to grow up and not see yourself in any of the media. It's it's hard to grow up and only see impossibly thin women be called fat. I remember watching Bridget Jones' Diary
Oh
and
my
seeing
gosh.
Renee Zellweger be called fat. Like it's a joke in the movies. She's constantly called fat. There are jokes about her eating, there's jokes about her looking chubby and thick, and she's a
She was
normal
thick.
size. She
She
was a
was
normal size. She could have been 50
average.
pounds heavier and still a normal size. Like, I mean, and even heavier than that. But like the
Yeah,
fact
and
that,
that's crazy.
yeah, that like
That's a
that
really
body
good
type
example.
was considered fat and oh, aren't you a bit chubby? Like in the
Yeah,
movie. It's
yeah.
just it's crazy. And then whereas, I mean, I bet Colin Firth in that film, not to guess, but I bet he weighed as much, if not more, but that's just a taller person. And like the fact that there are these like two like what heartthrobs in the film, and she's considered short and chubby. She was a normal size.
She's normal.
I rewatched that film like I think a year ago, and I mean heavier than that, heavier than Renee Zellweger when she filmed that. And I looked at that and I was like, wow, I cannot believe that this is like what's considered fat in
Yeah,
movies.
and this is like what we grew up with. Well, I mean, I guess I'm older than you, but this is still what we grew up with.
I grew up with that movie. I
Yeah,
grew up with a lot of not great not great movies as far
yeah,
as
and it still
like body
happens.
positivity.
Yeah, and it still happens. I think it doesn't happen maybe as much as those movies that were coming out in that time. It's more so the actual celebrities that are getting it, and it's not about
Mhm.
like there's more positivity in
Yeah.
movies,
But
whatever.
even if movies weren't talking about weight, I mean, I'm thinking about it today because I mean, today when we're filming this, Hayden Panettiere sadly passed away. Um, that's breaking news this morning, but it brought me back immediately to my childhood watching her in the movie Ice Princess.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because Michelle also passed away last year. So
yeah.
within a year of each other, the two leads in that movie have died. And even though it wasn't like a huge conversation in the film, things like weight and eating come in to the film in other ways. Like, I feel like I remember a scene where like uh her mom tells her not to eat something, or like she's eating popcorn or something, or has decided to step away from the sport and is like eating snacks now. Um,
As if that's bad.
or I forget. I see now I have to rewatch the movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a very long time.
But I was a figure skater for a long time. Like I loved that movie. Um, and even though it's like a Disney Channel movie, there are so many fat phobic comments made in Disney shows and
Oh
movies.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's fat phobia just laced into
Laced into
all more.
everything.
Yeah, I would say it's laced into things that like I guess we you would probably be surprised. I mean, obviously, like it shouldn't be in Disney movies. Those are primarily children's movies.
Isn't that how Ariana Grande, didn't she start on Nickelodeon or Disney?
I'm fairly certain she started on Disney. Also, she told she told a fan that they shouldn't eat a date because there were too many calories in it.
What? Was that recent?
I don't know how recent that was. Don't quote me on it. I just know that it happened. But the thing is like, even with Ari, like, she was on pro anorexia, like, tumblers and stuff. So when I talk about her and how it's a problem, like, you shouldn't comment on people's bodies, I'm not
Hmm.
commenting on her body, even though what I will say is that she is a sick woman and she needs help. I don't know if she
Yeah.
potentially has something terminal that none of us know about.
And that's the thing. I've seen, and I'm interested to hear your perspective on this. Since you've been so open about your eating disorder. I would love to hear what you think about this, but I struggle with anybody making comments about anyone's body online. As soon as I saw comments about Ariana Grande's body, I was like, and again, my mind goes to one of the most recent examples I can think of, Chadwick Boseman, like, hey, maybe she's sick or disabled, and we just should not be making comments. And then I see comments from people saying they have eating disorders, saying, hey, we need to be making comments about this because I had an eating disorder once and, I needed to see celebrities called out in this way. So I'd love to know what you think about that because I struggle with it.
I think it's a very difficult fine line because, and I think it's highly personal, but for me, it's difficult to call out when someone is obviously sick because also they could be terminal and you just don't know.
Yeah, they could have
But
cancer or something else.
if they are, especially if they're a celebrity that has this much money, take yourself out of the media until you're better. And if you're not better, then eventually make a statement. Um, that's my very humble opinion. That's a hot take,
Yeah.
probably. But personally, for me, I think it would have helped me in my younger self to see uh, people called out for things like that, for
Mhm.
sure, instead of it being idolized and praised up until the point that a person looks like they're about to die. Because seeing someone who very clearly or very obviously or has even come out with saying they have an eating disorder. There's that one celebrity, Lily. I can't think of her freaking name. I'll have to
Is
look
it
it up.
Lily Collins?
Yes, Lily Collins. She has openly talked about how she has an eating disorder. Um,
I'm looking it up because I hadn't seen that. I'm sure
yeah,
you're right. I'm just looking it up because I'm a resident Googler,
you are the resident Googler,
not Google AI.
not AI.
I always do the minus AI at the end. I hate when people post, this is a totally unrelated, but I hate when people will go, no, that's wrong. And they post a screenshot of
And
an
it's the
AI
AI summary.
summary. And I'm like, AI is not a primary source.
Yeah, I agree. So
Anyway,
it's kind of difficult for me because I'm very much of the mind like don't comment on other people's bodies. Um, I don't like seeing when other people comment on other people's bodies, but I do think it comes to a point where, especially when it's a celebrity that looks the way that Ariana does, that looks the way Lily Collins does. Now, also, things are happening with like Jenna Ortega and
yeah.
massive loads of other celebrities, Demi Moore. Like, if you are in such a public eye and especially as a celebrity, because you're getting scrutinized as well, and that's why you're doing this to yourself, but you know that you're impressionable to people back home. You know that people, young people, sick people, like all kinds of people look up to
Mhm.
you or want to look like you because you're famous and you're in the media and you're gorgeous because of this. I think at a base level, you shouldn't comment on people's bodies because you never really know what's going on. But when it gets to a point where it's like they're almost flaunting it in your face, I do think you should call it out because I, I'm like I'm not in danger of being anorexic again. I'm really trying to repair my relationship with food and get behind the disordered thinking to get better. But seeing pictures like Ariana Grande and Lily and all these people, it triggers me. It
Mhm.
genuinely triggers me.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, it makes me feel terrible. So I can only imagine how it's making people feel that are actively in the throes of battling with eating disorders or things like that. They're actively sick or not in recovery yet, or even newly in recovery, or at the point that I'm at. Because if it triggers me, I can only imagine how difficult it is, like to someone that wants to get better or
Yeah.
doesn't want to be sick anymore, but they're too scared to reach out when they see these celebrities being glorified for it. It's a really easy way to kick you back into that thinking. And I have found myself literally like staring at my like body before my showers recently, or like how my clothes are fitting me, and just been like doing the thing where I call myself fat, or I'm like, oh, I really need to get on losing weight. I'm about to be 34 in a month. I'll be 34 years old, and I need to start losing weight now. I need to be skinny. I need to because skinny equals pretty, and that's not true at all. For anybody listening, skinny does not equal pretty. But that's what seeing this stuff has done even to my brain. And I had to catch myself. I had to be like, wait,
Mhm.
whoa, holy shit, because I haven't like thought these things in a long time. So I think it's a fine line to walk. I think that things should be called out at a certain point. But as a general
Yeah.
rule of thumb, don't just comment on people's bodies.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think the fine line is the line between, concern and cruelty. And I think online, a lot of people tend toward cruelty. A lot of people will sometimes try to veil cruelty with concern by saying, "Oh, I'm just concerned, I'm just concerned." And then a lot of times it's not. Um, this is completely this quote does not come from a conversation about beauty standards or fat phobia or weight loss or any sort of eating disorder. But Tom Holland, I recently saw a quote from him that was, if you don't have my phone number, you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. And I
Oh,
I
wait, did you
tend
post that the other day?
I think I might have posted it the other day. Maybe I posted it as a comment or something, but I try to remind myself that when interacting with others online, that if someone was truly concerned about me, if someone was actually hoping to make a difference or worried about my health, they would text me or call me.
Yeah,
And if you
yeah,
don't have my number, you aren't allowed to make a comment.
right. If you don't have a personal level of access to me, you don't have the right to make the comment that you're wanting to make about my body.
Yeah. But anyway, I
Or,
just I just love that Tom Holland quote because
yeah, love it.
I
That's,
feel like it kind of applies here, and there have been times I'm, like, tempted to think something or make a comment about a celebrity. Another celebrity I think about is, Meghan Trainor. Um,
oh, yeah,
I admit, like, I didn't have conversations online about it, but I, remember talking to friends and being like, it's kind of a shame that she had this song all about that bass, and it was all about, like, self-acceptance and beauty, and, like, it's okay to not be, what was it, like a skinny Barbie doll, in her song, for her to now, be
be
posting a lot
very
of
skinny.
workout content and to be openly talking about being on a GLP-1. And then I have to stop myself too and be like, you know what? And it's none of my business.
Yeah,
Her
yeah, that's how I feel
discussions
too.
with her doctor, not my business. Am I like allowed personally to be like, well, that's a little disappointing? Sure. But
Yeah,
is it my right to judge anybody? No.
yeah.
Because
Like,
again, we have
feelings are
no idea
valid. It's
what
just,
conversations she had with her doctor. We have no idea what she's struggling with behind the scenes. So,
yeah, that's like, I have not had it happen since I have been diagnosed with my chronic illnesses, thankfully and surprisingly. But I remember when I first got off of keto and I started gaining weight, someone who was an acquaintance, sorry,
was it the
someone,
ghost? Was it the ghost
yeah,
again?
literally. Someone who's acquaintance. Wow,
Acquaintance?
someone who was an acquaintance that was not really a friend was like, "Hey, are you doing okay? I noticed that you're gaining weight."
And I noticed that we are no longer speaking.
Oh, I didn't talk to them anymore after this because I was like, "Why would
Uh,
you?
yeah.
Why would you comment on if I've gained weight or not?" Um,
And I noticed that you enjoy crossing lines and making inappropriate comments about people's weight.
yeah, I've had it happen. I've had doctors obviously off and on tell me that I was overweight and things like that. That's damaging to people. If somebody asked me why I've gained weight right now, well, the point that I'm at, like mentally, I
Mhm.
would probably just be like, "Hey, fuck you, buddy. Why do you care why I gained weight? I like
Yeah.
food. I like to eat." But also, the fact of the matter is, what does it matter to you?
Yeah.
What does it matter to you that I gained or lost weight or whatever I'm doing? I'm
Yeah.
chronically ill. I take it as it comes. Like my face can be like extremely flared like it is now with like MCAS inflammation and stuff.
Mhm.
And it could look like I weigh 300 freaking pounds over here. Not that it would matter if I did or didn't. Um
Not that it would matter because that's not a bad word. I mean, it's everything. It's not just weight. We've talked about weight a lot in this episode. And I do think it's like our conversation's really been about fat phobia in our culture,
yeah,
in a
yeah.
society. But it's not just
Innocent.
that. I mean, beauty standards for women, we could also do a whole episode about how women aren't allowed to age and
Oh,
women in
100%.
media, like you hit a certain age in Hollywood and suddenly you have to play the mom. You're always playing like the mom or the old woman in the movie. And I think a great representation of this in the movie The Substance.
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen it yet, but
It's definitely a body horror. I would look up trigger warnings for it before watching.
yeah, I saw like the previews and I was definitely interested, but I have seen a lot of like reviews online about it as well. I do want to see it. I do want to
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
Because I love stuff like that though, that like brings attention
Yeah.
to that kind of thing because it's true. Like beauty standards in general, I mean for everyone, but definitely especially for women, are crazy. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be 34 this year. I already said it once. I'll be 34 and like I definitely like I'm getting like more wrinkles around my eyes and like more smile lines and stuff. I personally love it. Like but every now and then I still catch myself being like, "Oh my god, I'm getting old." I'm not. 34 is not fucking
Mhm.
old at all.
34 is
I do
not old
that.
at all.
Yeah, I do that
I'm
because
a
I'm
fetus.
yeah, I'm a babe. I just babe.
Baby.
But yeah, like I catch myself doing that because you see it all the time. It's like if you're
Mhm.
starting to get wrinkles, if your pores are starting to be visible, if
Yeah.
you're not literally perfect all the time, you're old and fat and spent.
And
Like,
also the beauty industry has invented things that are wrong with you, like pores. Like that's not actually anything that's wrong with a person. That just is something that
yeah,
exists in everyone's bodies. It's not
yeah.
a bad word. It's I do think the beauty industry has decided to like own a bunch of word. You reminded me of this when you said peptides. Oh, it has peptides in it earlier. The beauty industry has decided to like pull certain ingredient words and be like, this is a foundation with niacinamide and it has this and this. And I caught myself in Ulta the other day. Um, I love walking around and looking and seeing what's new. You know, I do makeup content and fun videos. And anyway, I saw this like new I forget if it was La Roche-Posay or something, but it was like a retinol or something for fading wrinkles and dark lines. And I picked up, I was like, ooh, cool to try. I walked around the store and 5 minutes later, I went, what? And I go and I went and I put it back. And I was like, I'm literally 25.
Yeah.
I put it back in the
Now,
counter, and my husband was like, "Why are you putting
retinol
it
is a
back?"
good idea to use,
It
but
is, it is, but
the beauty industry has, yeah,
it
they've
was like
definitely like,
age rewind. It was like age rewind something, and I put it back, and my husband was like, "Why you don't want it anymore?" And I said, "I'm literally 25. I don't need an age rewind product."
genuinely,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was like,
And like,
seriously, but like, just chill out. I was like, what am I doing? This is like
yeah,
an invented problem. It's
yeah.
fine.
And like not super recently, but recently enough, I kind of relate because I there's like this new like Laura Geller, like mature skin
Yes.
thing. I was like,
I've
oh my God,
seen
I need that.
that.
My skin is maturing. Girl, I am 33.
Not my maturing skin.
Not
That's
my maturing skin. Like, you would think maturing skin, like, that probably like your 50s is when you start needing stuff like that. It's just a
not
different,
even.
yeah, it's just like my skin is definitely more mature than it was when I was 20 years old and people thought I was 16 still. But like,
Oh, I had the opposite problem. People always think I'm older than I am.
see, people thought I was older than I was when I was a teenager. And then even still now, I'll say I look more my age now. To me, I still say that. And people in my life are like, you're fucking crazy.
I don't
But
think so. I think everyone's my age, and when I met you, and we FaceTime the first time, I was like, "Oh, you're my age."
I think people think you're older because of your attitude, though, and your maturity, to be fair.
Oh,
Because, hey. But yeah, like people think I'm younger now, and that's not an insult. It's great. I cannot say that I'm upset that people think I'm younger, though. It does piss me off every now and then. Like when I get carded somewhere, I'm like, I'm
oh,
33.
rude,
Why are you carding me?
rude, rude.
And it's like, oh, it should be a compliment. No, I am 33. Why the fuck are you carding me for a mojito, Jared?
Yeah, I will say I do joke. Anytime I get card, I go, oh, "Thank you." Literally only 4 years over the drinking like age.
Yeah. I
Oh
used to get
God.
offended when I didn't get carded, but now I'm just
Yeah.
like, if I get carded, I'm offended. That's the point I've gotten to. But it's also because
Yeah.
I'm like in my mid 30s. I'm like, excuse me.
I hadn't gone. I still to this day have not been at a bar. Um, not before after I turned
I
21.
guess you turned 21 in prime pandemic time. Not to say
I
that it's
did.
not
It
pandemic
was
time still, but like,
it. Yeah, the start. I would say like it was still kind of lockdown. When
yeah,
I turned 21. Um, so
bars
I
are
celebrated at
closed.
home. I remember my mom she got us a bottle of champagne. So we did pop some bubbly. She got me my favorite tea kettle that year too. I have like a red Smeg tea kettle that boils water. It's so nice. Anyway, I digress. I have not been to a bar. We go out to like dine outdoors wherever there's like an outdoor patio or outdoor seating. Um, but yeah, I remember like finally getting to go to a restaurant. I think it was 2022. I forget when, but I finally went to a restaurant outdoors and I ordered a drink and they didn't card me. They didn't card me. I was in Philly, they didn't card me. And I was like, excuse
Excuse
me.
me.
Because, like, you turn 21, like, you want to get carded
Yeah,
because you
you
want to be
want to get
like,
carded. Yeah.
you want to get carded. Um, but yeah, I was like, this is so rude. I was like, I've never done anything wrong. I never underage drank. I never had like a fake ID. I never did anything wrong. I was like, okay, they are going to card me. And I was really excited. And they said, yep, sure. And for you, sir. And I went, they just
Yeah.
want to take my husband's order. They didn't card either of us. And I was like, that's rude.
Yeah. I get that. When I was 21, I also like honestly probably until my mid 20s, I was like, why are you not carding me when I wouldn't get carded? I would get carded often, but the times that I didn't, I was like, excuse me, ask for my ID. I want to show you that I'm 21.
Yeah. Just
That's
goes,
like,
I was going to say, just goes to show how we view young people in our culture.
very true, actually.
Tying it back to the topic.
Oh, yeah, we went off on a little.
I do think it's crazy. And I mean, you mentioned it briefly at the top of the episode about dad bod kind of trending now. I do think that it is largely women who are vilified and attacked online for how they look.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. And like,
Yeah, like I see men posting the content that I post, like public health stuff, and I don't see nearly as many comments
yeah,
about weight or figure.
yeah, definitely not. And like, women's thirst traps get more views than if they make a educated or an educated like political post or something like that, or just like an
Oh,
educated post in
yeah.
general. So
I mean,
like
you've seen it on my account. I'll post a picture of myself and the views, not even a thirst trap. Mind you, not even a thirst trap.
yeah, same. I mean, like, I've had some like banger posts that have popped off or whatever, but nothing has gotten more traction quicker than when I've put a selfie up or something, or like a selfie, like a picture where I was feeling myself, or like that picture of my strawberry dress. Didn't even have my face in it. It was just me in a dress.
Yeah. That
And
dress
it,
was that dress is really cute. You were giving in that.
I do love that
Serving
dress.
tea.
Tea. I have other really cute dresses that I need to wear, but that's just I've been in my little sick bubble lately.
Yeah. I do also think, and wow, I've been talking for, I can't believe it's been an hour that we've been recording. Um, gotta wrap it up, folks. I hope everyone's been liking the, I guess, kind of shorter episodes. We really do try to keep it short for y'all. Feel like people listen on their commutes, or like, I don't know, workouts. My husband always is listening to like a podcast on his run. Yeah, hope y'all like it. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know what
Or
you think,
don't.
or don't. Also, if you've made it this far into the episode,
Yeah.
subscribe.
Oh, I thought you were gonna tell them to comment something funny, like if you've made it this far.
Also,
Um,
yeah, if you've made it this far, comment um your most recent type of cheese that you've eaten.
that's very on brand for us. I did have somebody, I forget, shout out. Do I want to shout out people? Yeah, sure. There was somebody, I feel like his name is, whoa, that was a very loud. Was it an e-bike that just went by?
I heard that. It sounded like
It was a truck. It was a big boy truck.
a big
Big, big wiener truck. The like big ones that have the extra set of wheels because,
Oh, the small pee truck.
yes,
I
because
have a small pee.
obviously a car needs 6 wheels.
Yeah, and to be jacked up
Obviously.
3 different levels.
But anyway, I was gonna say, somebody, I forget who, I think it was somebody named Nick, commented that he did start eating burrata after I mentioned it a few
Oh
episodes
yeah,
ago, and it did change his life. So if
yeah.
anyone else would like to have their life changed by cheese, the cheese I'll recommend today is Gruyere. If anybody would like to have their life changed by cheese.
Gruyere's a good one.
What
That's a
cheese
good
would you
one.
recommend?
I'm gonna go with a simple cheese because I like it so much, but it's Havarti. I recommend Havarti.
Ooh, that's a good, got a little bite on that one.
Yeah, I love Havarti and Gouda.
I had Gouda on a breakfast sandwich the other day.
Oh my god, I love Gouda. It's like almost creamy.
People are gonna make fun of us for ending a conversation about fat phobia by talking about food. Whatever, losers.
Don't care.
The fat phobes in the comments being like, "Oh, look, these fat bitches talking about cheese." Whatever.
You know what?
Um,
We're happy. Are you?
True. I actually do love food. We could do a whole episode on food. We're always like, "What should we talk about today?" Food episode. I love to cook. Do
Why
you love to
haven't
cook?
we done? Yes. Why haven't we done a food episode? We
We'll
should.
record it. Maybe we'll, yeah. Coming to a coming to an episode near you. We'll talk about food.
We will talk about food. Oh yeah. We are gonna wrap up about beauty standards. I think it's actually kind of poetic that we are ending talking about beauty standards by talking about our love for cheese.
Yeah.
Eat the cheese, ladies and gents, and theys and thems and gays and everything else. Eat the cheese. Love yourself. Eat the
Yeah.
cheese.
I'm a big cheese.
I'm a big cheese. So, every episode we shout out a woman-owned business,
Yes.
and we have a woman-owned business for you today. It is the Full Moon Tea Company. She does small batch handmade loose teas, and I highly recommend that you check her out. We follow her on Threads. She's got an account. It is just Full Moon Tea Company, no spaces, underscores, or anything like that. And we just want to give her a cute shout out today. Her website is fullmoonteacompany.com. She's out of North Carolina. And for all you tea lovers out there, I cannot recommend enough.
And that's the tea.
And that's the tea. I love tea, and I was like looking at her post earlier, and I was like, a Bigelow Tea liked one of her posts, and I was like,
Oh, I think Twinings sent her a cease and desist on a design or something,
which is
which is
rude, Twinings.
crazy, by the way.
That is absolutely crazy.
That's not tea
Because what do you
behavior.
mean? And like, I'm a big tea drinker. I love tea. Like I love having Earl Grey, and I used to. I need to get back into the habit. Actually, I loved the way that I felt and slept when I did this. I used to drink chamomile tea every night, and then Earl Grey every morning, and sometimes I have green tea in the middle of the day. And I like
Mhm.
rooibos. I like all kinds of tea. Tea's amazing, and that's the tea.
And that's tea.
And that's
So
tea.
yeah, thank you so much for joining us on this adventure into fat phobia, beauty standards, and GLP-1s, and topped it all off with cheese. Everything should be topped with cheese.
Everything
And
should be topped with cheese.
in case you forgot, women don't owe you shit, and fat women don't owe you shit.
Women don't owe you shit. Fat women don't owe you shit. Women don't owe you shit.
We'll see you on the next one. Happy Freckle
Bye.
Friday. Bye, everybody.